We are live. It is 3:06 p.m. Central Standard Time in the United States, 9:06 BST in the UK. It's the Nomad Tech Project with Sam and Joe.
Hey.
Coming to you live this 28th day of April 2024. And Joe's in a good mood. Arsenal won. Although
Yes.
they were up 3-0 and kind of gave up 2 goals at the end and almost blew it. But,
almost.
Almost.
I was confident, but it was tense. I was confident, but tense.
So that way, so Joe, obviously, as any good football fan in the UK would be, clearly his mood is determined by his team's either losses or wins in any Premier or championship, right? So, because that's a thing. And so luckily the Gunners won, so that's good. And Spurs lost, so that's good.
All good.
Because I didn't.
Very good.
So Joe's in a good mood. That's cool.
How is Sam?
Sam is
Sam in a good mood.
Sam is wearing his Padres. So for those of you who are probably, well, most of the people, it seems like most of the people are in the UK and stuff like that. They're really, I think we slant more to our folks in the UK. If you're paying attention to the stream, you'll notice I'm wearing a Padres jersey or shirt. And the reason why is not because I'm a San Diego Padres. That's another baseball team, by the way, Joe.
Okay. I never knew that.
It's because my favorite baseball player of all time is a gentleman named Tony Gwynn. And Tony Gwynn spent his entire career with the San Diego Padres. So if you look, if I'll turn around I gotta actually get rid of my chair. So get rid of that. See, on the back, it says Gwynn. So Tony Gwynn is my favorite baseball player of all time. And so he happened to be a San Diego Padre for his entire career. He never traded, played for the same team, which is pretty unheard of nowadays. And so my father-in-law bought me this shirt. So I'm wearing it today because I just felt like wearing the shirt. So anybody who knows I'm a Cardinals fan, why are you wearing a Padres shirt? That's why. So
that's why. Just purely for Gwynn.
Purely for Tony Gwynn. That's pretty much how it goes. So
did he ever play for your team? Or
no, he's only played for the San Diego Padres his whole career. That was it. The only way.
So why is he your favorite player?
Well, because I would say that, I didn't see now my favorite Cardinal player, probably this historical Cardinal, is a guy named Stan the Man Musial. I'm sure you've never heard of him. But pretty much arguably one of the greatest batters, right? Baseball hitters of all time.
Yeah.
And so Tony Gwynn is arguably the best hitter of all time as far as singles. I mean, so basically he didn't hit for power, but I think he finished his career like 340, which is it's incredible hitting. And he's very, very one of probably the best hitters in probably the last 40 years. So I'm not into all these home runs are kind of nice. I know I like guys that hit a lot of home runs, score, power, but I like guys like that could hit, like the Cal Ripkens, the Tony Gwynns, the Ichiros, guys that get on base, right? Didn't really, but hit all the home runs, big flash, right? And now they don't really do that anymore. Now baseball is kind of skewed to power hitters and home runs and bat speed and all this other kind of stuff, which for a person like me isn't really I don't know. I appreciate that aspect, but I like guys who can just hit. Guys that just were naturally talented hitters that were professional.
Consistent hitters.
And the problem is with baseball, real quick, is nowadays the only way they seem to score runs is if somebody hits a home run. Whereas if you got a second and third, guys on base, if you just get a base hit, you score a bunch of runs. And the Cardinals, my team, is terrible when it comes to when runners are in scoring position. Just get a base hit. That's all you need. Get on. And the Cardinals back in the 80s used to do what's called whitey ball. So they would be stealing bases, getting base hits, defense, right? The kind of non-flashy kind of ways to play baseball that they don't really do anymore. It's kind of a different game. So obviously, I'm sure football has changed, right? In the tactics.
Yeah, it's definitely evolved quite a lot. Yeah.
And I think it's just because players are bigger now, stronger, faster. They're more athletic, right? And so that and people want the flash, right? They, I guess in the United States, a 1-0 baseball game that's a pitcher's duel where the pitchers are really not striking guys out and they only score a run. Those, when I was a kid, those were really intense, really kind of enjoyable games. And then when you get to Now it's like, they want to score more runs and hit more home runs and score more goals. Like a 4-3 game is a lot more enjoyable now than a 1-0 football match, I guess, right? I guess they want to see the goal scoring because that's fun.
At least for the neutral spectators.
Right.
It can be quite frustrating if you're watching your teams concede 3 goals.
And Tuna's in the chat. And it used to be the Cleveland Indians, but we can't say that anymore. So they changed their name to the Cleveland Guardians, which I think is a terrible name. I understand why they do it in Cleveland because of the Guardians. There's a bridge. I think it's a bridge.
Okay.
And Jason can keep me honest about it. I think there's a bridge that has like guardians, like stone guardians that guard the bridge, and that's where they got the name from. I think it's terrible. I understand Indians is not a great name either. And the Chief, and it really wasn't the name, it was the logo. The Chief it's, if you look it up, you can see it. I
like it though.
The Guardians, I don't like the name.
I don't like the Guardians,
That's why I'm glad the Cardinals are just St. Louis Cardinals, just because it's a baseball team. And it's a bird, so it can't really offend anybody, at least right now. Maybe, who knows? I don't know.
Just while you're talking about hitters, right? In football, like everyone likes goals from open play, but Arsenal have been really good at set pieces this season. We even have a set piece coach, which is why we've improved in that area. And it's not that glamorous, but we've scored a lot of goals from set pieces, like corners. Corners is a set piece.
Okay, you're gonna have to explain what a set piece. So those are set plays.
So free kicks and corners, predominantly throw-ins as well. But
throw-ins, I was gonna say throw-ins. So basically, anything that's more of you have a chance. The ball's
it's not open play, yeah.
Right. It's just like, okay, this is a set play. Guys stand in a certain position. We're going to kick the ball in a certain spot. We're all going to move to it. Okay, I get you. All right, and is that not a thing anymore, or are?
It is definitely a thing, but it's not that exciting, is it? It's not what people want to see, and it goes to what you were saying about hitters and going on the bases. Like set pieces isn't exciting.
Yeah, but it kind of is in a way. So because the ball's always going out of bounds, right? You take a shot, it goes over the back line, or a defending team kicks it over the back line, right? So they clear it, and it's a penalty, a corner kick,
corner,
right? And then, right. And so, but those are where because then you can get a guy that kicks in, and some dude jumps in from the side and hits a header, right? I mean, those set pieces can be exciting.
They can be exciting, yeah.
Because you kind of can watch the strategy of where defenders stand, where offensive players stand.
Yeah, the runs they make. Like we've got one player who's very good at shithousery. He's always on the.
What did you say? Was that shithousery? I don't even think that's a word. So does that mean he's?
It is. I just made it up. No, it is a word. It is.
Is it?
I'm sure it is. I'm going to look it up.
Right. Does he antagonize other teams? Is that what like a pest, like an antagonist? Okay, I got you.
Yeah. Something regarded as despicable, unacceptable, or bad.
Yeah. So
basically he really antagonizes the opposition's goalkeeper.
Right.
And he's very good at it.
Gets in his head and kind of messes with him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's fantastic at it. His name's Ben White. He's a legend.
Yeah. So anyway, so DT is asking, was there a team that had a skin color in their name? I don't know if there was a skin color. There is the Cleveland Browns. That's a American football team. That's a color. I don't know about a baseball team that has a color. I have to think about it. It's just no. So yeah, there is. But
there is in rugby, isn't there? The All Blacks.
The All Blacks, yeah. I mean,
New Zealand,
uniforms are black, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so anyway, and then Tuna's got his. He got a he had one of those Rabbit R1s, that little thing. He's going to ask.
Oh, yeah, yes. Yeah.
Hold on a second.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Tuna's doing with that. I've seen them popping up all over the place.
Sorry about that. Anyway, so ask the Rabbit
Apology
R1
accepted.
with the Cleveland Guardians. Why Cleveland's called the Guardians. It should be because of the statues on the Hope Bridge. Okay, so yeah, that's what it is. There's statues on this bridge. They're cool. Yeah, okay, that's good. All right, good. Yeah, and Andrew Walker said shithousery got to be Ramsdale. I don't know what that means. That's an English. that's a UK reference, folks. I don't know what Ramsdale is. So for those of you who are American, that's probably not going to land anywhere unless. But yeah, the Cincinnati Reds. Well, okay, so it's not a Red. Okay, so I think the Reds is the original team name was the Red Stockings, back in the day. So I think they shortened it to Reds, and so that's where it was. So I believe it's like you have the Chicago White Sox, right? That's a baseball team, and there's the Cincinnati Red Stockings, I believe, is where that comes from. Not necessarily the Reds, although that really wouldn't be an Indian reference. That would be more of like maybe a Soviet reference. I don't know, possibly, but I remember the team's called the Red Stockings. Anyway, we've talked about sport for 10 minutes. This is a tech show.
Yep. That's all good. People like it.
But there's nothing going on. There's really, there's not, I guess I thought I saw a report that Apple is finally letting on, I think it's iOS 17. They're going to let them put the icons anywhere you want on the screen. That's kind of nice.
Really? Wow, finally.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it takes, 17 iterations of an OS to kind of let people put it on there. I think it's good.
Yeah, I think it's good. Yeah.
As an Android user, that's the way it should have always been. But you know what I mean?
See, I could deal with iOS if they just sorted out the back gesture. Like, to get out of apps is sometimes hard. It's not easy, not intuitive. Like, that's what annoys me.
Yeah. And Red Stockings, like women's clothing, we mean like lingerie. Sure. If you want to go there, I don't know where your head's at. That's cool. No judgments. It's not a judgment thing. It's just maybe, yeah. It clearly, if there's a seam down the back, maybe it's hosiery. Yeah, but I don't know. But and Jimmy says, and Legend Jimmy says it might be, I don't know. I thought it was 17, but maybe it's 18. I don't really pay attention to what's going on iOS like that. I don't really, things that are major.
It's coming one day.
It's coming one day, and yeah, and then and Tuna said, yeah, yeah. I don't like the keyboard on iOS.
No,
I'm not a fan. Yeah, and then yeah.
So Bradley said, Bradley said the title race is on. As much as I'd love to think that Arsenal can win, I think Man City. I can't see them dropping points. I'm just hopeful, right? But I can't see them dropping points. We're top at the moment, Sam, right?
Right.
But Man City have a game in hand, and the games they've got left, I can't see them losing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, even if we're perfect.
So they're on set. Okay. Yeah, that's right. And it's like, duh. I have an iPhone. I guess I got to check that. And yeah, because I'm
What's that?
He says iOS 18 is where they're going to do because currently they're on iOS 17.
I have no clue. I've got an iPhone here as well. Let's have a look.
Let's see. About. Oh yeah, 17.4. Well, at least that's what it's on my work phone. So okay. All right. Well, maybe it is iOS 18. Okay, cool.
Yeah, 17.4. Yeah.
Yeah, and Bradley confirms it's on iOS 18. 17.5 betas are out now. Okay, so for all you
Sam was just testing the people in the chat there. He knew it was 18, really.
I had no idea it was 18. I don't really give a shit either way. But I was just glad that that's coming. So for folks that there's some, there's some feature parity. And I guess my question is going to be, what do you think, Joe? At some point, are we going to pretty much have where iOS and Android pretty much do, with except for a little kind of things here and there? Do you think that they're really
getting close, aren't we?
Parity? Yeah, might as well. It comes down to ecosystem, right? And that's basically
pretty much ecosystem, cameras, ecosystem and cameras.
Right. Yep. And no, we're not teasing any merch. We're not doing lingerie, as much as that depresses a D to you. Sorry about that. And I don't know. I just don't think Joe and I would look good in a pair of stockings and heels. I just don't think that's a good look for us.
But if you do want to buy Sam's underwear, he sells it on eBay after he's worn it.
Well, I don't even wear it, so you ain't getting that. So anyway.
Wow.
Man City is on your there you go. Man City's on your heels. Yeah, so they're
they're more than on our heels. They're breathing on our necks.
Absolutely. So we talk about RCS. Wait, we could talk about RCS. I don't know. I can't imagine. I guess is that conversation stalled with it comes to RCS on Android, iOS, where they can talk across. I thought there was kind of some momentum on it, and I haven't heard much about it. Now it's possible.
I thought they'd promised it.
Well, if they did, I don't know when they promised it.
They didn't say when, but I'm sure they promised it, didn't they?
Yeah, it's like whatever. I don't know. I did notice that
We ain't got a clue, Sam. We thought it was still iOS 17
I was
coming.
gonna say, I mean, look here, we're the worst tech show in the world, right? We don't even know what's going on in iOS.
The worst
right?
tech show in the world.
The worst tech show. Well, we don't do research. Like, here's the thing: Joe and I really have full-time day jobs and evening jobs, and Joe had a really busy week. And God love people that get into this, but man, I just don't have time to sit there and spend all my, like yesterday, I worked this most weekend. I had on my little secondary job, right? And I noticed something too, speaking of that, at the country club that I work at on the weekends and stuff like that, everybody uses an iPhone. I have not seen one member with an Android device.
Does that say something about your country club or?
Well,
I don't know.
I mean, think about it. Well, I mean, you have to think about that. Most of them, the members there would be wealthy, right? Because it's expensive to, and this is one of the nicer country clubs in the city. So obviously these people are clearly not struggling for
people,
money.
Though. Would you say they're even tech people? Not really.
Well, I wouldn't say they are. Like, I don't know if they're not, but I mean, but what it strikes me is, again, it's one of those things where I don't think it's because they are like, well, if you're rich or if you're well-to-do, you would have an iPhone. I think it's because that's all they've ever known, right? They started using an iPhone. Their kids use iPhones. And I think that's just what it is. I just happened to notice in the club, the members themselves, I don't think I cannot well, one lady, oh no, I take that back. I don't think she was a member. I think it was a member's wife. She actually had a Z Flip. And the reason why, which is kind of nice because she was trying to take a picture with it. And I kind of showed her how to like make it one by one. Right. So I kind of showed her a couple of things, but that's the first. And I think that's the only time, but as obviously throughout my day, I just kind of always pay attention to what people's, and I don't know, maybe do this too. Do you watch to see, and I know people in the chat do too, what people are using?
Oh yeah.
Especially
on the bus on the way.
Oh, somebody's got an a OnePlus. Oh man, guys, right, man, that guy's got a
You rarely see them in the wild.
Right. But in the phones and other phones, it's one of those things. But I just happened to notice that the other day when I was looking at, talking to members and either serving at the bar or at dinner or whatever, and they're on their phones because everybody does now. I just noticed, I'm like, man, even most of the people like at the club are iOS users, and I just thought it was interesting. It's just one of those things that I don't really have a correlation. It's like why that is. I just noticed it was just an observation, and I just thought it was interesting. I don't know. I'm not sure why. And I don't ask because I'm sure I'm going to get the same kind of answer, right? It's just like, well, it works and that's what I use and I don't care. And maybe the younger kids would give me the whole, well, you're a basic bitch or, Androids for peasants or whatever, but with the adults, I don't think that would be the response. I'm curious as to why. I don't know.
Some of them might be driven towards it by their kids, so they'll say, oh, what phone should I get, what would you recommend? And they're going to recommend an iPhone, aren't they? Do you know what I mean?
Google leaked that RCS is coming to iPhone this fall. Okay, cool. Well,
Google love a leak.
Yeah. And here's the thing,
they love a leak.
Yeah, so hopefully they'll use it. And yes, all country clubs have wealth. That's kind of how they work, and it's fine. I don't mind private country clubs. I know a lot of people get weird about it just because I'm like, hey, look, I mean, mostly it's a golf club. And I just,
it's not a cult.
No. And they're normal. And like I said, and I started working there during the pandemic just because I wanted to get a job that kind of got me out of the house because I was just losing my mind working at home. And I really don't do it now for the money because I really don't kind of need to. It's just, but I wanted to quit, but I mean, the members are pretty cool. Like, they're not the same kinds of people that you would normally think of at a country club, right? They're really old money and they're like, oh, you're the help, right? So they're treat you like they're pretty nice. Most of the members are really pretty cool. Like, they're really,
I mean, you wouldn't carry on doing it otherwise, would you?
Right. And then, and so it's kind of fun.
That says a lot.
I mean, I enjoy the job because it's kind of fun. I get to learn how to bartend and serve, and it's kind of fun. It just gets me out of the house, right? I get away from Teams messages and emails and meetings and the stuff I do at my regular day job. I don't know, it's kind of fun. Plus, it helps a couple extra $100 in my checking account every once in a while. It doesn't help you. It doesn't hurt either.
What Sam does during his shift, he skims some alcohol into a little pouch that he has. So every shift, he's skimming some alcohol to take home.
Yeah, absolutely. That's not a thing. I don't do that, by the way.
If anyone from
Yeah,
the country club's listening, he doesn't do that. I made that up. Sorry.
that's why I did identify the club. Anyway, so but yeah, I
They're
do
gonna
see
pat
more.
you down next time.
Yeah, I do see more Samsung phones, and I have seen my fair share of Pixels. But anyway, and let's see what the details. It's simply easier to get into. My dad is the same way. iPhone, iPad, AirPods, all just Again, it just works. And like I said, for those people, they aren't really tech enthusiasts. They're kind of just like,
Talking about that, right, Sam?
Yeah.
You know, OnePlus. I've got my SIM in there at the moment. I talk to people like, "Oh, this is where my SIM is at the moment," and they're like, "What's that? Is that new?" I'm like, "No, this is the OnePlus 12. They've been out for a long time." But yeah, people don't really know what OnePlus is, and we're like, "What?" As tech people, but yeah, they're not a big brand to general people.
Well, what I find
public.
interesting is that they really don't know that it's a Chinese brand. Like they know of Huawei. Like most people have heard of the Huawei ban and they know that.
Yeah.
Right? This big boogeyman that is Huawei, right? But they don't realize that OnePlus is BBK, which is right, and they don't think about it like that. So when they see a OnePlus device, they don't put two and two together. So it's interesting.
OnePlus.
Yeah, and they don't. I've seen a couple that do carry two phones because I've seen some people do have work phones and stuff. A couple of members I know that they sit at the bar a lot, and they're really nice people. They order dinner and stuff. They both have two phones, and they both are iPhones. So that's just the way it is. So no, I don't think they're rocking Android devices just because. Again, I'm curious to see why. I don't feel like asking as a thought experiment. I just don't feel like doing that. Plus, it's not appropriate, I don't think, but I don't really care. I just noticed it. It was just one of those things that as I'm just walking around.
Your next shift, Sam, can you stop asking everyone why they've got iPhones?
Right. Yeah.
Just do your bloody job.
Yep. Boston had two major league teams. The Boston Braves moved to Milwaukee before becoming, absolutely. And the St. Louis Hawks became the Atlanta Hawks in the NBA. They moved to I think in the 50s or 60s. So back to the baseball thing. Sorry. Anyway, Andrew's easy to get into too. People just pick a camp and never leave. I agree to this to a point, but I think people are more willing to try iOS because of peer pressure. Like my daughter, and the reason why I say this, Tuna, is my daughter used my HTC ones, right, and my OnePlus devices, and actually used my Windows phone and loves them. Talked to my daughter, but she said, "Dad, I have to go to iOS just because all my friends have iPhones."
I'd go as far as saying not just Android and iOS. I'd say Apple, Samsung, and then other Androids. So people that use Samsung, they don't like to switch either. They're like, I've always been Samsung. I want to stay with Samsung. That's what you always hear.
Right, but I don't think that's specifically Android. I think that's specifically Samsung, right?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Right. So it's not just Android. I'd say there's 3 tiers. There's Android users that would dabble on anything. There's your Samsung users, and then there's Apple users. And I guess there's a small pocket of Pixel users because there's a lot of people that are massive Pixel fans that don't touch other phones as well.
And so I don't feel bad because Bradley says he does it all the time. So good. I felt like I was like, am I the weird one here? Probably so. It's very, but Brad says he does it all the time. He does actually look at camera housing. Yeah, it gives it away.
Oh, I look at people's headphones and everything. I'm always intrigued what people are using.
And Tuna says, RCS in the fall. iOS. Okay, well, that'd be cool. I mean, I think there should be that, and they think that helps. Samsung works well with watch. Yeah, and I like the link to Windows, and I like the fact that I do.
Wait, link to Windows is good.
Again, Samsung, if you're listening, they're not listening. If Samsung is listening on your Flip 6, can you please bring DeX to it? Just let it happen. It's not going to be a problem.
That's July, isn't it? July it's coming.
I don't know. Well, I mean, I guess we can actually look at those events, right? So we've got, what are the events, right? So we got Samsung.
Google I/O is the 18th of May. Is it 18th of May?
Yeah. So we got Google I/O coming up. I mean, that's cool. And obviously the Samsung event, and then Microsoft. I think they have a developer event, but who cares really? Because they're not doing anything. Because they're not doing anything in the Android space or the mobile space anymore. They really don't. They're doing basically Surface, barely.
Yeah.
So we'll see. And but I don't know. Let's see. So Obama and Winston Churchill. First of all, Winston Churchill's dead, and Obama doesn't come to my country club. Although I've been told, although I've never seen him, but I was told that Wayne Gretzky is actually a member of the club. I know other Blues players and Cardinal player are, but I've never seen Wayne Gretzky there. But he does show up occasionally, time to time, which is kind of cool. And Jerome says, I've seen a lot more pixels in the wild lately. A few months ago, I showed an older dude my Pixel Fold just for a few features. He's like, might be time to upgrade. Yeah. I mean, Pixel is gaining traction. I think, I think, although it's interesting because I was at an AT store a few months ago. I was doing something. I don't know why I was there. I can't remember. I think I might have been returning a device I got, but I can't remember. I couldn't swear to it. And then there was another gentleman who was considering getting the Pixel. I think it was the 8 Pro. And this guy,
the next few months, you'll start seeing pros on a good deal.
Oh yeah, and he was just like talking mad trash. The guy, pixels are trash and they don't work, and I've had more problems with. The guy behind the counter was just like really dogging him. I'm just like, well, first of all, and Joe, you know this because you're obviously this is absolutely your retail space, right? I don't know if I would think that you should have your people doing that.
No,
I mean, even if you have a personal thing about it, or you might say, hey, and you might say something's true to like, well, maybe they have more returns or they're prone to more failure, or I've had some different feedback from them. But this guy was just straight going, basically, if you buy a Pixel, you're buying basically just a garbage device. Like you're just
that's wrong. Because
I mean, I didn't like the approach.
Yeah, I'm not an iPhone fan, right? And obviously, people ask me about iPhones daily, coming from Android sometimes. I normally say to them, look, I'm not a fan, but all my team love it. So, I never trash it though. Yeah, that's just wrong.
Yeah, Tuna's, well, don't be careful.
Let them make their own choices.
The Vivo and Xiaomi's are working. Everybody thinks you're spying for the CCP. They're going to get you. They're like, it's just like, come on, folks. I mean, who cares? Yeah, I can get that. It's Ohio. It's like Missouri. I mean, they're probably the same way, although people probably don't pay that much of attention. Although when I do use my, when I bring this device, my Fold, one guy goes, man, what the hell is that, an accordion? He said it was an accordion. I guess because he saw the 2 panels, I guess. And I was just using it this way, right? I wasn't using it. And he's like, man, is that? And I showed it to him and I just open it up and you're like this. And he's like, oh man, that's one of those. Oh, I've seen those on TV. Those look cool. And then I just watched before the show because honestly, folks, I was actually trying to look for something to talk about. Because we had nothing. We don't prepare for the show. I don't know. This doesn't surprise most of our viewers. We don't really prepare a lot. No. We just kind of wing it. I know, right? And you would think that we would be more professional. Yeah, not so much. Anyway, so it was I think it was Tom's Guide. That's a website I've seen before. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
They were talking about foldables and they were talking about motos and flips and that kind of thing. It was a pretty good little 12-minute thing. But I guess what it is people don't really, it's still way niche. And I think it's hilarious that, we're talking about the prices and they're like $1,800. That's crazy. Right. But it seemed like more people were on the bandwagon for a foldable as opposed to the flip and the Moto Razr. They seem to be more, I think I would get more use out of the foldable. So I guess my question is, do you, and that explains why Google hasn't had a flip, right? They just have the fold. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So do you think there's a reason for that? Do you think that the flipping phone probably is going to be what, if anything goes, foldables, flippables, do you think that flippables would be the first one to probably bow out and not be made anymore? Do you think that's
I think they're here to stay though still. Because Samsung's not stopping them. And you've got other people coming to the market with flips. So I think they're here to stay. How popular they'll get, I don't know.
Well, I think they're here to stay. I think it's always going to be a niche part, and until Apple decides to make one. If they make an iPhone, iFlip, forget it. Then it becomes mainstream, and then that's how you're really going to see, because of 2 things. 1, Apple made one, so clearly they think that the segment has value, and 2, because most iPhone users and most Apple users who don't really know about foldables and form factors and don't really care will actually start to take notice and go, oh, wow. And I think, honestly, for a lot of the iPhone users, I honestly think the flip is going to be where it's at. I think if they make an iFlip where it's an iPhone that does this, I think for a lot of, because remember, half the population is women, half men, right? Statistically,
Yeah.
I think women would find a lot more pocketability because remember, how many women have you seen? Folks walking, and in the chat you can see, and I've seen a lot too, is walking around and they got their jeans or whatever small pants, right? And the phone is literally sticking out, like literally
sticking
this
out big
far.
time.
It's like literally sticking out this much of the phone is sticking out of their pocket. And you're looking, man, there's no way if they sit down or move quickly that phone's not going to plop and flop in there, laying in there on the ground.
I don't know how they do it.
Yeah, I don't know either. But and Jerome had the same problem with my. Like I said, she's been using Android, and then one day she wanted to try an iPhone, and now she's gone. Right, and that's the way it is. I know it's earphones, especially Chi-Fi. What's a Chi-Fi? I don't know if he did. He said I know it's earphones, especially Chi-Fi ones. I look at the colorful and have. Yeah, I always pay attention to earphones because I'm kind of seeing if they use like the bone conduction, like the shocks I had. Actually, I gave those to my daughter. She really likes those. She used them all the time. They were okay. I didn't hate them.
Oh, talking of going from headphones to phones, do you see Moondrop's doing a phone?
No, I did not.
Yeah, Moondrop's doing a phone, and it's going to have a 4.5 and a 3.5. 3.5. Yeah, it's going to have 2 headphone jacks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because obviously Moondrop is going to be audio
focused company.
Focused phone. I don't know too much about it though. I don't know the internals or anything, but it looks quite nice. It does look very nice, I think.
And Jerome, I would love to believe that this comment is true because that would be awesome. This would be the number 1 show at the end of the year. I think it's the number 1 show in my mind. Me and Joe might be a little crazy, but that's okay. But yeah, and then Jimmy saw a Tom's Guide article. Yeah, I happened to see him before. I've seen Tom's Guides before. They seem to be pretty well done, and they seem to be fairly fair. I don't see any big bias. And then they had on this article, they talked to Michael Fisher, but they also talked to representative from Samsung, Motorola, and Google. So the guy Michael Wang, I think is the guy who handled the Pixel Fold. So they're talking about foldables and those kind of things, and saying the things that all corporate people say. It's whatever. Foldables are for kids. Foldables, okay. Well, I guess. I don't know. I don't know many kids are going to have a flippable, but I get what you're saying. I have both, and I had a chance to get rid of my Razor, but I kind of like it.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I like the colors Moto do. You seen the new? There's a wood effect one.
I guess what's the new? I guess what it's going to be essentially
their new Ultra,
the Edge Ultra 2024. Yeah. I guess.
The
wood grain one
looks cool. Yeah. I like the look of that one. And what's the other color? The Pantone colors. I can't remember what it is now. But yeah, they do some cool colors, Motorola. Yeah. I can see them growing the way they're going.
Well, the problem with the Motorola, what's going to keep them from really kind of getting over the hump is the camera. That's what's really gonna.
And for some people, the lack of software updates.
I get that.
For some people, that's why I said some. Because some people don't care.
Right. But at the end of the day, I'm like, I think the wood grain one. I like using my Moto. It's one of my favorite brands.
I've never tried one.
They're really good. If you're talking about stock Android experience, they're pretty decent. And let's see, he's been tempted. Yeah,
they have some extra bits, didn't they, Moto?
Clamshell Pixel Flippy Boy. Yeah, I would say for folks that if you're going to go with I would say try any of the foldables. If you're in the Pixel, if you can OnePlus Open, the new
Pixel Clam,
the Pixel Clam, right? But I think just give it a try and see. And maybe, and again, maybe not work for you. I would say it definitely changes. It's nice to have. It's pretty handy. But there are challenges with it, right? Obviously, you have durability issues. You have dust, right? Problems. Not necessarily water, because I think they're all pretty well. But obviously, it's a moving phone, right? It's moving parts. It's got a hinge, and the screen is folding in half. So clearly, it's a lot more fragile. But I don't know, we'll see. I mean, try it out. I mean, you may, and if you don't like it, that's okay. I mean, it's not for everyone. And
Sam, do you see Samsung's taken over on global sales?
oh yeah.
Taken over from Apple. Yeah. I mean, this time of year is when they tend to get close to it.
Well, I
So
think what they run into is I think, well, obviously I've seen reports that Huawei is still pushing forward with their high-end chips, which I would think they would. And Huawei is
Xiaomi's had
actually,
lots of growth. Xiaomi's had lots of growth
yeah,
globally.
and I think you're going to see because, oh, okay, ladies, put in the back. Yes, they do. Chi-Fi is Chinese Hi-Fi IEMs, basically KZ's. Oh, okay, gotcha. Moondrop. Okay, gotcha. Okay, tracking. Sorry, he meant Chi-Fi, which is Chinese Hi-Fi. Yeah, and these are KZs. These are like awesome. Dude, these KZs, I swear by these headphones.
Swear by them, yeah, I was going to say.
Oh, dude, ever since Juan Bagnell.
I love these.
Yeah. What brand are those?
Moondrop Arias.
Moondrops? Yeah, I mean, honestly.
Recommended by
for the price
Aditya.
point, I had the KZ ES1s, and that was when Juan first, that's how I first found out about him, was listening to Juan. And man, I was like, I think they were like $25 on Amazon. And man, they sounded great. And honestly, that's all when it comes to wired headphones, that's all I get is KZs. That's it. I mean, I think for the price point, yeah, good. That's what it is. I mean, they sound great, but also just, I mean, same thing with Xiaomi. When I had that Mi Band, I mean, for a fitness tracker, dude, the Mi Band 5 and 6 were like 40 quid. It's like, dude, you're practically giving it away. I mean, it's like, Jesus, man, it's really, really good. I really like it. And so let's see, Shark Fin's coming. Oh, the AT&T store rep trashing about the Pixel Fold. He said the cameras stink. The return rate failure is high, and I disregarded it and kept playing with it anyway. Yeah, I mean, again, it's just like anything else, especially if you're going to a store. I mean, but I've noticed that, I don't know, and that might be like a Verizon or T-Mobile stores, maybe as well. I know of AT&T people that work at AT&T stores. If it's not an iPhone, they will just they will trash the shit.
That's poor. That's really poor.
I really don't like going into their stores, honestly. And if you do have the Big Blue and you have to go to AT&T store, know what you're looking for and just go in there and get what you want. And don't talk to those people. Because honestly, if you listen to them, they'll basically steer you into a Samsung or an iPhone. And that may be great for you, but maybe not.
Let's see. It's poor.
4.4 balanced out to 3.5 on the Moondrop. But apparently it's kind of like impedance and can drive, not to mention it holds a lot more than a headphone jack. Yeah, I'm curious. I can't wait to see what they're gonna do. I didn't know anything about Moondrop making a phone. That's gonna be kind of cool. I will pay attention to it, but I'm curious, like OS and updates and those kind of things. I'm just curious to see. But I like, honestly, if Nothing Phone were to have phones that were available in the US, I could go pick one up. I'd love to try Nothing Phone and see if it's pretty good.
They're worth a try, I'd say. Definitely. I enjoyed Nothing Phone 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, I prefer flagship devices. I'm a snob.
The Clam, the Pixel Clam. I can see
Clam.
that. Yeah, I can see that. Why'd you say it like that? Clam. He's making fun of me. All right, let's see what else.
Never. I never do that.
Of course. Yep. 4 because he knows all the stuff. Like, I don't know all the stuff.
Aditya knows his shit, man.
He knows his shit, and he's a fan of the show, and we love Aditya. Congratulations on, again, hopefully now that he's out of school, hopefully things are kind of calming down a little bit with getting a job. That's always
when
fun.
It comes to audio, Aditya's very, very knowledgeable.
Yeah, he's very knowledgeable. Yeah, like I said, and I just like him. And I don't know which ones these are. I think they're like special. I don't know. I just like to call it ZSTs. I don't know. They were like kind of a special. I think they were like
Sam edition.
60, but no, they're not. I don't know. What happened was
personalized.
The ES4s. I think this started to fray a little bit, and so and that
you could buy a new. Did that disconnect though? You can buy a new wire, couldn't you?
I could have and just bought, because I know this part. It kind of
comes off, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I could have bought, but I could have got a new wire. But I thought, but here's the thing: because they were so affordable, I just bought a new pair. Yeah, just bought a new pair, and I think these are a little better because I think they have an extra driver in them or two. I don't know. So it was okay. I didn't mind spending the money because I had such a positive experience with the first KZs I bought. So carriers, workers, one word, commission. Oh yeah. Well, also commission, but also because they're going to sell you what they know because they can talk intelligently to that device, right? If they're an iPhone user or a Samsung user. But it's been my experience that most of them are iPhone people. And that's what, if you go in there and say, hey, look, I'm coming off of a whatever device, what do I need to do? Most AT&T reps that in the stores, they will steer you towards an iPhone.
That's why commission's not the best model.
No, not for those kind of things, but I understand why. And I get it.
I know why business use it because it does drive sales, but it's not the best model for the customer. Definitely not.
And Sharks in the chat. He's looking forward to the Pixel Fold 2. I prefer the Passport form factor over the Z. Yeah, I'm kind of done with this. I can tell you, typing on this is a pain in the butt. I don't like it.
But on the rumors that the Z Fold 6 going to be more of that aspect ratio, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they're going to have more of that aspect ratio. They're going to get away, and I don't think we're going to get the siloed S Pen. I think that's a little bit of a stretch. And they were also talking about having a more of an affordable, kind of like a Z Fold.
Yeah, there's a rumor of an Ultra. Yeah,
and then just a standard phone, like maybe like $1,200 or $1,300. I don't know if you.
So Sam, where would you sit on that? Right. So if they did come out of an Ultra and a normal Z Fold 6. Which one would you go for? Because you're not bothered about cameras. You would want the Ultra.
Yeah, because at this point, I don't think the segment is as developed that you can fragment it that way.
Okay, that's a fair point.
It's just like I said, because everybody talks about, well, they're expensive. It's really not about expense. It is partly that, but I think it's more about form factor. And why would I want to deal with something like this? Like, why do I want to deal with this? Like, do I really want to deal with that? Even at $1,200, because remember, when you have a foldable, for folks that haven't used a foldable, it really fundamentally changes how you use the phone. Now, you can live in this world, right, where you just use the outer screen. But then my question is, if you're using the outer screen 90+% of the time, then two things are not happening. One, you're really not pushing the way you use the device using the inner screen. And the second thing is, if you're not willing to do that, then why don't you just get a slab phone and and save yourself some money and get a S24 or even an S23 Ultra, right? If you're in that Samsung life, like I don't get it. If you're gonna buy a foldable, you have to use the foldable for more than just. And I like the fact that Pixel has the Passport and the OnePlus Open, but I think and then Shane Ascari Literal makes a good point about foldables is when you had the Duo. It was so much. I found myself multitasking lots more on that because when you open up one side, the other side was always open, right? It's just it was two independent displays, and also there was no outer display, so you had to open up the phone and you launched your app, whatever you were doing, and then you would launch your other app, whatever you were doing, right? And then you could switch them back and forth.
It's almost having like two slab phones, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, and again, it was more akin to the LG with the dual screen, right? The dual, like the G and the G, right? And the V60 and the V50. So again, when you have two independent displays, your willingness to, it seems like your ability and your willingness to multitask is a lot more present than it would be for a foldable.
That's got to be the goal with software for foldables for me. That's got to be the goal.
I would think that for me, and this is just me speaking, I would think that what I would like to do is have a Z Fold 6 or operate more like when you open up the phone, right? When you open up your phone and you launch an app, that it goes immediately to one half the screen.
Yeah.
Right? When you launch an app, it doesn't, like if you're launching X, right? It doesn't go full X, right? I shouldn't have to do this and then do this and then do this. Like I shouldn't have to do that. Like I again.
Well, it should be in the options. So you say open up on one side, on the right side, for example.
Give you a software
open
feature,
up.
right?
Yeah.
And I think the reason why they don't do that, and it makes total sense, is because most people didn't use a Duo. So they don't really know. Like, and they want the screen to be uninhibited. Like they didn't want to span it across. Yeah, but it just seems like when I've used this device and I don't that extra couple steps kind of makes me not want to do it. And I have a lot of people say they have a foldable, they really don't open it that often.
See, I think
It's
you
like,
need to try the OnePlus Open because that's meant to be better for multitasking, right?
right. I like the way OnePlus does it with the open canvas. I like
Mm,
that setup better. We can open a third one and then kind of scroll up and kind of have it open
yeah.
and kind of. I like that design, and I really wish that Samsung or, I really wish they would allow a OnePlus. I wish they would carry that OnePlus Open in a carrier store. That'd be kind of cool.
You
Because
have
I'm
app
really
pairs though, don't you, with Samsung?
you do,
You
and
do?
you can set them
Yeah.
up that way. And again, it's not unusable. It's just, I guess what it is, and I'll be perfectly fair about it. I really just wish I had a Duo 3. And again, this is how I felt about Windows Phone. It's like, here we are again.
Mhm.
I finally found a device that really works for me, like for me. And Samsung doesn't hit it, and OnePlus gets close, and Google Fold's kind of close. But the Duo was just like perfect for my workflow. Like once I started
Yeah.
using it, I'm like, Jesus, this just works for me. Again, it probably works for very few other humans. And so that's the problem. But for me, it just was like, man, it just Duo was so much better. It forced you to multitask. It was designed to do that. That's all it
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
You had this whole open screen and go, okay, well, I need to open up another app to make it work. Whereas the
It was more
foldable
for
was,
business people in mind, wasn't it? So
I think it was an enterprise use, but I think
yeah.
but once you kind of start to use it, and I didn't use my phone for enterprise use. I mean, I bought a Duo, and it was kind of cool. And I don't know, it sucks. More chat. God, you guys are so great in the chat. I'm sitting there running my mouth, and I miss like everybody's making comments, and it's great.
We have to read the
Yeah,
comments, remember?
I think a Pixel Fold is probably the best form factor as far as the Passport. But they're going to change it. So,
Yeah, it's gonna be
I mean, seriously, I mean, it's like, I don't think your feedback was because of the form factor. I think the feedback was other things. I think it was mostly software and charging
yeah.
speeds and those kinds of things. I don't really think the form
Do you think they
factor.
listen to the YouTubers too much? About them bitching about the bezels
I
and
well, yeah, because again, bezels. But I'm like, yeah, I think so. Because obviously, I don't think a lot of people complain about the form factor. I think people like the Passport form factor.
yeah,
I think they were
I
complaining
think so.
about the cameras not being as up to snuff. The battery charging speed is completely unacceptable. I'm sorry. That is just no
I think the
reason for that phone.
visibility in
Right. The
visibility
visibility in
outside.
sunlight.
Yeah,
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 terrible.
that was
And absolutely. And yeah, Jerome, yeah, I was one of the 15. Although when I bought the Surface Duo 2, when I actually traded it in, I bought it, I was gonna
Oh, Sam's paused. I've got a Duo, but I don't know where it is right now. I need to find it. And it's got a big old crack in it, which really upsets me. I need to skin it. I need to skin my shit. That's what I need to do. I think I've lost Sam. Oh my god, I've lost Sam. I need to take a picture of this. Because his face looks brilliant. Here we go. I'll share it on our MeWe group. Brilliant. Yep, talking to myself again. I love talking to myself. I'm talking to you guys. Let's hope Sam hurries up. Because I don't like being alone. It's horrible being alone. Do Google discontinued Sam. That they heard him trashing the Pixel Fold and that was it. He's gone now. Yeah. Sam loves. Maybe that's what he's doing. He's going to get his Duo. He's looking for it now in his house. I need to find my Duo, man. So Bradley, are you a Man City fan by any chance? While I've got no Sam here, would everyone like to see a review of this when I get a chance? OnePlus 12. Would anyone be interested in that? I really want to do some more reviews, but I don't find much time. But if there was demand for it, I think that would give me motivation. Do you guys want to see more reviews from me on the channel? Yeah, I do like this jersey, Aditya. I really do like this one. I like it even more if we won the league in it, but let's see. I don't think it's going to happen. Okay, that sounds positive. All right, I'll try and get a review done for this. Spoiler alert, though, I'm really enjoying it. It's a really nice device. It's like a bit like a Pixel Samsung hybrid type of phone, really. Oh, Sam's router crashed, and he said, "Be on in a sex," and then I think he meant second. Sammy has been cancelled. He's gone. This is a Nomad Tech project with just Joe now, right?
There we go.
Hey, there he is. There he is.
Get canceled. My router sucks. Anyway, so to our point, yeah, and yeah, the Duo. I think that problem was the camera, really bad software. Yeah, just did not get a lot of good love, and the Duo 2 was an improvement, but then it wasn't great. So I get it. I'm so we'll see. Yeah, I'm back. Sorry, folks. I suck.
That's right. Everyone's realised how shit I am on my own. I could not do this on alone. Big respect to all the people that do live streams. You know, the people that do live streams alone, just one person. Big respect to them, man.
Yeah,
I could not do that.
I tried, but man, it just doesn't. It feels it's awkward. I don't like
it. It is awkward. Yeah. It is awkward. I mean, thankfully we've got like a really good crowd in the chat. Otherwise, I would have just wet myself probably and just
yeah. I'm just gonna piss myself.
They kept me going.
Right. So
thank you guys. Much appreciated.
Yeah, and they were saying welcome back, not because they didn't appreciate Joe trying to hold the fort down, but
no, it's because we need you, Sam. We need you.
Nobody needs me. That's okay, but I appreciate it. I am back. Sorry, I saw it. I saw like the video kind of went. I was like, oh, I think it's.
I've got a nice picture of you though, Sam.
So I went. Oh, did you? Oh,
yeah, of course I did.
That's okay.
Of course I did. Yeah.
It
looks like you're taking a shit.
Is it really? Oh yes.
Like,
oh, great. Like, do I don't know. Do I look up at the ceiling when I go to the bathroom? I don't think I do. That's okay. That's fair.
So I'll put it in the MeWe group, which you guys need to join actually. If you guys haven't joined already, we do have a MeWe group. We'll put it on the Twitter, the Twix.
Absolutely. Yeah, Sam will have to have that MS. I don't have a Duo 2. It broke, and then can't get. I'm not spending $700 for a new one, so it's okay. Or not a new one, a slightly used one. But yeah, and live streaming alone brings a character. Yeah, you better have some talent too, because man, doing it. And I know Luis does. I've seen him do some. It's hard to do a solo.
Yeah,
I could try. I just don't think it'll work.
I'd have to prep. I'd have to prep if I was doing it solo. Like we can bounce off each other and we can kind of wing it, but doing it alone, you can't wing it.
So absolutely. So yeah, join the MeWe group. It's awesome. I'm not as active in there as I'd like to be. I'd like to change.
You need to be though.
I need.
Someone said a very nice comment. We had some lovely comments in there.
Let's read one of the comments and see what we got. What we got going on.
So big up Mike Latour. He also watches PSC. He's part of that community as well. He gave us some feedback on the podcast. He said he really enjoys it, just as it is. I think a little while back we said about should we change things up at all. But he said he enjoys it as it is.
Yeah.
He said it's one of his favourite pods of all time. The only request is that he'd like to hear more about Sam's background in going from police officer to a job in tech. Did you already have a background in tech that made you transition easy, or did you go back to school or enter some formal training? Like he's quite intrigued by how you've made that transition.
Well, yeah, it's definitely not a doesn't make sense. It's kind of an interesting career path, right? So yeah, I was a police officer for 10 years, and when I was doing that, I was interested in computers and stuff, and I didn't have a background in computers. I did actually rebuild one of my old computers. I had like an old baby ATX case, and so I put it back together. But basically, because I took pictures of it and like remember where the wires were, I just replaced a motherboard.
You
So
told
I
us about
wasn't
it before. Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't building computers. So for those of you who think I was just out here building computers and coding, it's not happening. So I was actually obviously interested in tech and tech savvy, but definitely not to that level of like hardware and software coding and stuff. So, and what happened was, so as I got out of law enforcement, I got the job where I currently work, and it actually was. Let me back up. So I actually went out of law enforcement. I actually went to dispatch. So I actually was a dispatcher in the county that I live in for about a year and a half. And there wasn't really anything involved as far as tech, right? That wasn't a tech background. That was just basically being an emergency services dispatcher. And then actually, I just didn't like it. I just didn't feel like it was a good fit. So my buddy said, "Hey, they have a law enforcement kind of job up at where I work now." And so again, still not a background. This is like what was this, like 2013, 2014?
Yeah.
And so I started at my current job, but I was in their law enforcement division, and I was there for about a year and a half, working midnight shifts and weekends and stuff. And that just was like, you know what? I think I have more to offer. So what I did was I went back to school and I finished my degree, an associate's degree, but it was just in like a general transfer. Like I did take some networking classes because I was interested in networking, but it didn't far as getting like an A plus or network plus certification, right? I wasn't going that far, but I did take some networking classes, and I thought it was kind of cool. But again, still not in a background, still not working in the field, right? Not even IT, really still just transitioning out of law enforcement. It was really actually a cop. And then what happened was in about early 2016, I'd heard about where I work getting some work from another part of our system. And so I interviewed for the job. I thought, well, here's a job. It was up in the call center, right? It was it was like tech. So it was like application support, right? In the call center at where I work. And I remember meeting with the hiring manager, and they was like, "Hey, well, what kind of customer service experience do you have?" I go, "I was a police officer, which is like the ultimate customer service job, right?" And
Well, yeah.
and she,
You have
and
to
she
be a
goes,
people person.
right? And she's like, "Do you think you can handle people on the phone?" I said, "Yeah, if they're not shooting at me, it's going to be actually pretty easy." So she took a chance on me. Basically, this hiring manager said, "Hey, I think you might be okay. Let's take a chance on you." So I started off taking tech support calls, level 1 support calls, right? People would call in with access problems, password resets, those kind of things. And then it turned into this application that they use that I work on now still, actually, all these years later. It was how do I use, it's basically walking them through how to use the application, right? So it's kind of nice, right? You'd reset their password, get them in, and they're like, "Hey, once I'm in here, how do I do the thing I need to do?" And you'd walk them through all that. And so I did that for like, 4 or 5 years. And then they said, "Man, you're pretty kind of good at this." And I learned how to basically obviously use ticketing systems, right? So service tickets and things like Jira, those kind of things. And for anybody who's in that space that kind of knows what I'm talking about, kind of learn just, here's the thing. If you're going to do anything, you might as well be a professional, right? You might as well continue to grow and learn, right? If you're going to be a trash guy, well, be the best trash person.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
what the hell? You're already there, right? And so, and with IT, you'd be surprised. It's one of those things that it doesn't require a degree. It's if you can code, you don't need a degree to code, right? You just do the thing, right? If you can write SQL, or if you can write Linux, or if you're doing, I mean, anybody can go right now and get AWS, like Amazon Web Services. You can get cloud certifications and practitioner. You can go online and do it. You don't ever have to even work in the field. You can just get that. And then, so I did that. And then one of the jobs came up in the production support part of that application that I was doing the support for. So it was kind of this natural progression. I have a bachelor's degree. It's in management, just because I didn't want to get an IT degree because it was pointless. And I did take a coding. I think it was C++, and I suck at coding. I'm terrible at it.
It's not easy, is it though?
I didn't think so. And the problem is I don't have the patience for like the debugging and working through code, right? I knew I wasn't doing that. So it goes to show you that if you're willing, and so my trajectory and my career path is really one of two things, right? It's being given an opportunity by an organization, and then getting in there and kicking the doors off the thing, right? And learning and wanting to learn and wanting to grow. And I'm turning 49, so I'm definitely not the target audience for most IT professionals, right? So yeah, and so it was just like a growth. So I basically started taking calls in the application, got good at the application, and then developed inside of it, right? And I've still been on the same program for like the last 8 years. So, And the funny thing is my background is actually technically in law enforcement, and then my degree's in management. And I'm not going to be a manager where I'm at because I don't have any interest in management. I'm a little old for that. I mean, not what you do. Like what you do is different. It's a store level manager. The kind of managers talk about it like, people development and it's like, I think my personality doesn't lend to the culture of where I work. It's a little different.
Yeah, you have to fit in for the culture, don't you?
Yeah, I'm a little bit more of a direct kind of person, and direct feedback, and I expect direct feedback from my support. Like people who are working for me, I would want to hear, like, just be straight with me. Like, what's your problem? Like, is it a compensation problem? Are you overworked? Do you feel like you're not being listened to? Like, and the problem is, it seems like, and Joe, you're gonna attest to this probably. When you talk to people who work for you, they aren't always 100% straight with you about what they need or what they want or what they desire or what they're trying to get to. And if they're willing to do that, then you can have that dialogue, right? And you can try to.
Sometimes they don't know, Sam. That's why. So it takes a good leader to have that conversation and get to what they want.
Right. And the thing is, and when it comes to leadership in an organization, anybody can be a manager. Leaders can be at every level. You can have individual contributors in your organization who are leaders, who you can tell have leadership capability. Don't want to be a manager, don't want to be a supervisor, don't really want to do all that. But you can tell that they want to, that they're willing to inspire their team, right? They're willing to like, hey, man, this guy's pretty good. And so I think that's what it is. So basically it's literally for me is an opportunity to grow. Somebody took a chance on me 8 years ago, and I just basically took it and ran with it. Right. And it's almost sheer force of will. It's definitely not intelligence. I'm not super smart. I mean, I'm definitely not unintelligent, but I don't think I'm gifted at all. It's just, if you're always willing to learn and be humble and check your ego there and just get to the next level.
So I think you're being unfair to yourself, Sam, but I think you are gifted.
Well, I mean, I clearly have a terrible taste in baseball. I'm just kidding. But I just like, so that's basically what it comes down to, right? I've always just trying to, something sounded, here's the thing. I hear this all the time. And there's another gentleman online who I listen to. I think his name is Scott Galloway, I believe. But it's like, don't chase your dreams, chase your talent. Go find what you're talented in and do all that and do that, right? Just it's not about, I mean, and I have a natural tendency to be inquisitive and investigate. And that part of that job in customer service and helping people was learning, oh, this person had this problem. Well, somebody else is going to call in maybe later on and have the same problem. Like, oh, I remember this person had that problem. That's probably what your problem is, and just build on that, right? And
they were doing this, but did you do this? Oh, that's why.
Did you turn it off and turn it back on again, right? Is it plugged in, right? And so basically, that's what it came into, and that's basically it. And that's how I treated my law enforcement career. And before I was doing that, I was in retail and manufacturing, and I drove a forklift. I done a ton of stuff, right? And so. I know a lot of people get all like, well, you should work at a company 40 years and these kids today. No. Go chase the money and chase the talent. Do something that you can do, but don't just do it for money. Realize that what they're getting is a skill, because one, you're learning to develop, and also you're trying to figure out what you don't want to do. Like some people, and they go to law school and they become a lawyer, and like 8 months later, they go, dude, I hate this. This is terrible, right? And their whole life.
You need to enjoy your work.
Or at least not hate it to the point where you want to jump off a building, right? Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. But also realize that part of that struggle, part of those things are trying to get to that next level. And you have to get through the work. You have to plow through a terrible boss, a culture that may be not great. And you got to keep plugging through all that if you can and try to figure out what's going on. But realize that at the end of the day, the only thing you really have any control over is your effort and your mindset. That's it. Everything else is completely optional, right? I mean, you may be in a good culture, and if you find a good one, even if the money's not great, but if you find a good work culture where you can develop and grow a skill set and really like what you do, just take every day for what it is, but realize you have limited amounts of time. I know if you're in your 20s, you think you have the whole world, and you do, right? You have maybe 40, 50 years. When you're to the point where you're almost 50, things shift a bit, right? And you realize that you have a lot less years forward than backward. So I guess that's what it comes down to. I mean, so that's it in a nutshell. Customer calling in. Sam, you have the right to remain. Well, no. I was actually pretty nice in the phones. But although I did get a lot of frustrated with people just like they wouldn't listen to you. Like you tell them, hey, click on this button. And you're like, what do you mean that button? Yeah, that button. Why? Because that's how it works. Well, are you sure? I'm pretty sure, right? So it's those kind of things.
Wait a minute, you calling me for help or not?
Right. It's like, I'm not sure what's happening right here. Yes, I will be 49 in July. So yeah, the beard is getting a little gray. And actually, I'm starting to get gray on the side. Look at that. See, look at it. Yeah, it's working its way up. I'm going to go all gray.
It does that.
I agree.
Look.
And most people are afraid of rejection. That's fine. But
yeah.
And you may be, but realize that in that rejection is there a reason why they're rejecting you? Is it just because of you, or is it because you're not good enough, or are they doing you a favor by getting you out of an organization or a culture that isn't working for you? Right. So I understand. And yes, I agree. And try to get over that fear, because if you can, you'd be surprised how well things can work out for you. I mean, look at me. I mean, if you would ask 20-year-old Sam, hey, when you're 48, this is what you'll be doing, I would have thought you'd been crazy. There's no way I would have said that my life would have turned out like this. And you
can't predict your life. That's the thing. It's
no. And then we need to put the MeWe link. I think it's in our show notes. Pretty sure
it should be. Yeah.
God,
it's on our
Twix. If I didn't, I'm a terrible human being. It's on the Twix.
It's on the Twix as well, I think. Let me check. It should be on the Twix.
Let me see. Let me. It makes me wonder.
No, it's
like,
not.
Man,
it's not on the Twix. I need to put it on the Twix.
Let me see if I put it on our. Let me look at our episode list.
We have tweeted about it before.
Do I? Jesus Christ, Joe, we're terrible. Okay, so it's not on the show notes. I will get it on the show notes for this episode. And you're right. Thanks for calling that out. I appreciate that, Brad. I appreciate you, sir. For we'll get it on there.
We keep talking about it, but we haven't actually given anyone the link. We are.
You're right. I'm
terrible.
Right? Yeah, right color. Yeah, it definitely wasn't for me, Shark, and I'm not about that life, right? And that's fine. There are people who are about that, and it's just not me. We didn't post the link. Yeah, DT, we suck. Yes, I am younger than you. That's true. And so that just goes to show you it's never too late to try something, right? So give it a try. And worst case scenario, you'll learn if you like it, because you'd be surprised. You may get into something that you had no idea you were interested in, and it just clicks. And then it just works for you. And then you can.
Things I never planned to be a leader in retail.
Yeah. I mean, you just were
I
going
don't think
to work.
I want to be either, but
well, it's a challenge, man. It's a lot of work, and there's a lot of stress in that. And it's hard.
I really don't want to be doing it, but I feel like like an actor gets typecasted.
Yeah,
I feel that's me in my career now. Stuck in retail.
Yeah. Well, like I said, again, you'd be surprised. Get some management experience, and then if you want to, because if you can supervise and lead people and really learn how that all works, you can leverage into that in some way.
No, I'm pretty shit at that.
Well, no. And then here's the thing. Also, folks, for anybody who's a younger person, don't forget, like trades, right? Plumbers, carpenters, electricians, those kind of things, right? I think there's some value there. And I'm glad, Jerome,
definitely
I'm glad you have this approach. And if it doesn't scare you, that's good. It doesn't mean they're right for you. Right. It didn't work for you, or it didn't work for you, or they didn't work for them. Right. So it's and you have to know your value. But for younger people, it takes time to develop, because they don't even know their own value. They don't know what they're really capable of. And some people just have to kind of get through it. So
one thing I'm proud of, Sam, every interview I give as a leader, right, when I'm recruiting, they always say to me afterwards, I really enjoyed that interview.
Oh, there you go. So you got, again, I think that's, and see, I hear this feedback. I think this show is not very good. I think we're terrible at it.
We suck.
I know. I mean, seriously. I mean, I listen to it. I'm like, I really, but I mean, every piece of feedback we receive, and look at this chat. I mean, people are coming here on a Sunday, engaging. And so, maybe we're not doing ourselves a disservice. And Joe, do you have a separate channel? You don't have a separate channel, do you?
No, I do it on Nomad Tech Project.
Tech Project, and then this podcast.
If I ever do anything, I mean, I've not made many videos. due to time, confidence, a mixture of things, to be
Right.
honest.
Yeah.
I'd like to do more videos though.
I've watched your reviews on your phones and stuff, the videos you do, and I think you have a good grasp on editing video, because I'm terrible at it. I don't think I could do it. Honestly, it's just enough just to do the audio of this, and I've kind of gotten to a routine where it's not too easy. I mean, it's not too bad. I can do it pretty quickly. So no, maybe we'll see. Do we review tech? I do not review tech. I don't know if I want to do that.
I'm trying to get him to do videos, but then I'm not doing them myself, so I can't really speak. And
I think I would, but I guess my question is I don't know if I would review tech. I don't want to do it the formulaic way, right? I want to do it in a way that's completely insane. So I don't know if that really resonates. I don't know. I just would rather. I don't know. I thought about it. I thought about doing unboxings and like doing a day in the life. I don't know. I try. I think need to. I think
yours
I need
should
to
be conversational. Yours should be conversational. I think people would love to hear your experience with a device, but then you kind of do that on the podcast. But I think in a video format, it would be quite cool.
Actually, I know who I do like, who I think I would like to, emulate as much as I think the Unlocker. I think I like his, like the day in life, you're going around and filming stuff and going to places and talking about stuff. Like that's what I would do like, let's say I got the Fold 6. Let's say I haven't decided yet. And taking around St. Louis, right? Just going around town and taking videos and day in the life and check. I would like to get that, but the problem is like I would think I would have to have somebody with me, right? Because I can't record myself the whole. I guess I could, but it seems like he has somebody who's filming it, right? So he's doing it from not himself. It's not a vlog. I guess I could try that. And
why he does some vlogging? He mixes it up, doesn't he?
Yeah, and Jerome, it comes down to two things, right? I don't think what I would present would give a lot of value. And it takes a lot of effort and energy to really develop that skill set, because that requires skill and time and patience and the willingness to try to do those things. And I just don't think I'd be very good at it.
So I think you would.
I think, well, I would eventually. I think I could get there, because anything, like I said, I think, but do I really want to take the time and dedicate it to that and getting good at that when there's, and yes, I do. I really like the Unlocker. I like David Kogan. I think he's a fan. We'd love to have him on the show. I would love, I think he does it. Him and Michael Fisher, the way they do reviews and the way they do their videos, I resonate to those more than MKBHD. Not because I don't think MKBHD has talent. I think he's extraordinarily talented. I like the way they do it, because also when I watch Unlocker's videos, he's going around town, like in New York area, and he's talking about, hey, here's a coffee shop, here's a thing. He kind of describes it. That's why when we had friend of the show Jermaine on, when he did his video about that town and gave you like the history of the town and
fantastic. I really enjoyed it.
Dude, I was like tractor beamed. That was like the most engaged and not that I'm not engaged in Jermaine's videos, I really am, but man, that was like, for me, being kind of like a history buff and kind of like wanting to learn more about the world that I don't get to see all the time. Man, I was just like completely, like, he had me totally hooked. Like I would watch those all day long. I thought he did a really good job.
Yeah, he's been going more locations, hasn't he, Jermaine?
Yeah, it's fantastic. And I like that. And I do like that. If I was going to do it, I would like to do it in that style. I think that for me, that would be a video that I would like to create. And those are the kinds of content that I like to consume and watch, instead of just somebody sitting there with a bunch of B-roll and looking down at the phone. Again, I like watching Flossie Carter's videos. I think that has value, but man, for me, I think what David Kogan does, that kind of like day in the life and battery test and taking the phone out and using it day to day and interacting with people and kind of seeing. And I think that's another thing too, is everybody does New York and LA because everybody lives there, but it'd be kind of cool to see all the things that around St. Louis, right? People would get some exposure on some of the things that are local, right? And that would be kind of cool. So I don't know, maybe one day I'll give it a try. Hell, who knows? I mean, worst case scenario, I try it, it's terrible, and I decide I don't want to do it, or I say,
that's the thing. That's the thing. It's worth just giving it a go. I mean, I thought my video, Nomad Soundcore speaker video, I thought that was terrible, but apparently that's what got sent to Snapdragon.
Yeah.
Which presented me the opportunity to go away. So.
And I did do the
Just
live
showed you.
unboxing of the duo. I did do that, and it wasn't very good. I didn't think, and I wasn't really doing it to try to make a video. I was just doing it because I was so excited about the video. I mean, maybe that was it. I don't know. So again, I would consider it, and I think Joe and I will. Who knows? I mean, and the beauty
We
is,
may make more content, maybe.
do not
One
pigeonhole
day.
yourself into thing, and just try to get past the fear of thinking you're not very good, or you're not that talented,
Yeah.
or it's a lot of work. Yeah, things are. In order to be good at something, you've got to put the effort in. And
I think it's what would alleviate my confidence issue would be if I did a rough script, and planned it out a little bit. Then I probably would be a bit more confident.
Yeah.
Because the videos I've done in the past, I just know roughly. I make bullet points rather than the rough script, and that's what's hindered me.
Yeah, everybody's unique, and I agree. And that, so again, there's some value there. And like I said, Luis is correct. The Locker, Michael Fisher, nothing but tech. Again, I'm a fan of hers too. Your average consumer. I don't. For some reason, I don't watch a lot of his videos. I don't know why. There's no reason for that. It's not like I have no reason to. I just don't. I don't know. I guess I need to check out the Unlock, your average consumer. I think he does a pretty good. I've seen him on feeds before, but I haven't really watched it. So I gotta check it out. So yep.
He seems like a nice guy.
Yeah, fear's your downfall. Yep. You just got to break through, man. And who cares? Again, it's free. It's only your time and effort. And if people don't like it, at least you did it, right? You can say, because I'll tell you right now, when I tell people, do you tell people you have a podcast?
Yeah.
And do they think they look at you like, really? They go, yeah. And they're like, really? I said, yeah, I do. And it's not, it's not hugely popular. It's not really well known, but yeah. And people are like immediately like, wow, that's kind of cool. I go, actually, yeah. It's kind of cool.
I downplay it though. You know what I'm like? I'm like, oh yeah.
No, dude, I don't. I don't talk like I'm
doing that.
I don't think I'm like, that I don't sit there and talk about, I don't misrepresent what we do. Right. Or
yeah.
But I look forward to this every Sunday. I really,
I do.
And this is something that's fun. And I also look forward to interacting, having guests, and all the people in the chat. I literally love seeing people interact and type. The people right now, do you realize there's a dozen or so people who are literally watching the stream and are typing in active comments and following along and making their input? And I think it's fantastic. Like that
is fantastic.
It's just great. It's just awesome. So again,
just on the subject we was talking about, where people have fear of doing things. Do you know what we learn more from setback? We learn more from the losses. Setback where we lose, where we don't do so well. That's when we learn more. You don't win. When you win, you don't learn as much.
Right. Yeah. And, but yeah, there's growth in losing, and there's growth in
development. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Also,
yeah. And, but yeah, and I agree. And DT, that's a very nice comment. And I appreciate that. So he talks about, I'm charismatic. I guess so. I don't know. I just think I'm a normal guy, and I try not to give anybody too much shit, but, yeah, we'll see. I think I might give it a try. I always say I'm going to do it, but maybe, I don't know, maybe today after today's episode.
I think people would love to see it, Sam. I honestly think they would love to see it.
I think I should try. And like I said, maybe with the Fold 6 coming up, maybe that'll be, hopefully
that'll be the one, yeah.
Well, I mean, honestly,
you was tempted to do the flippy dippy, weren't you? You was tempted.
I still might do the flippy dippy, but I'm telling you, if they can come off this form factor, you have more of a passport form. Again, I would like to see the S Pen. That would be great, but I'm okay with that. But if they come with the flippy dippy, I think that as far as foldables, I think they're in a good shape. So we'll see. There is a market for everyone. That is correct, and I agree. There's always something for everyone. And fail first attempt at learning. God, that's good, folks. There you go. That's a good one. If I'm sure that's hopefully, Luis, that's not I don't know if that's your own statement, but if not, that's a great one. So yeah, it's a first attempt at learning. You keep going and you grow and develop. So that's basically my trajectory. So hopefully I took care of our MeWe person's request, and we can talk about it more later. If that wasn't enough, that's okay. I don't mind.
Foul for me is fat ass is learning.
There you go. That's okay. I'm not fat. I'm just pleasantly plump.
I'm not fat. I'm just a dad.
Right. I'm just a dad bod. Right. Anyway. So man, we're at almost 1 hour and 20 minutes. So we're again, it's funny because I thought about it right before the show started. Like, we don't have enough to talk about. And then, so again, so MeWe, we'll make sure that we put it on our Twix, and we'll make sure I put it in the show notes. I cannot believe I didn't have that. So thank you for people who called that out. I will fix that. Also, yeah, I mean, go check out the MeWe, and it's really good. It's a really good community. Also, if you're like me and you don't like to use cases on your phones because you like to have phones that are kind of,
I did that when you was off. I did
skin your shit. Oh, skin your shit. We still don't have a code. I don't know. Joe's still working on the code and working through.
Yeah, I haven't had a response yet, but I put forward NTPSYS.
Yeah. Nomad Tech Project, skin your shit. So hopefully they'll let that fly. And
hopefully
they're very busy over there, and they're a great group of guys. I think his name is Lee.
Lee. Yeah, Lee.
Yeah.
Lee's the big guy.
Lee's a good dude. Yeah, it's just like anything else. They got other things to do other than just talking to us about bullshit. So, it's okay. And
what's he got on at the moment? Let's have a look. I'll have a look for everyone.
It's not a statement, but he has it on his home screen, and that's a good thing to have. I think that's a fantastic thing, and I like that fail. I like that acronym. And I live in a world of acronyms, so that's pretty cool. So, yeah. So, Joe, let's see what's the next match for Arsenal. What are they going to playoffs? They don't have playoffs. What the hell do they do? What
was that?
Okay, so they don't have
cut out then.
Like Arsenal. So what's the next thing? Are we getting to a playoff season? What are we doing here? I mean, they don't have playoffs.
No. It's just no. We don't have that. We've got 3 games left. We've got Bournemouth next.
You should beat them. They suck, right?
We should beat them. Yeah.
I never heard of it.
But
so
how would you pronounce that?
Bournemouth.
You would say, yeah. So most Americans say Bournemouth.
Well, most Americans are retarded. No, I'm just kidding.
Then we've got that
phrase. No, most Americans.
Then we've got Man United after that.
Yeah. So most Americans, if they look at the word, they look at the words literally. But if you go to watch people who are doing Massachusetts state names, like have Situate and Portsmouth, like they'll always say Portsmouth or Leicester, right, instead of Leicester.
Yeah.
Like it's those British kind of names when it comes to those silent letters and the way they say it. It's really tough for Americans. They'll read everything completely literally, and they'll just read a gloss of it. So I knew it wasn't Bournemouth because that sounds ridiculous when you say it. But Bournemouth, I think that's how you say it, right?
Bournemouth.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Bournemouth,
yeah, that's okay. Hey, you'll beat
Everton. I hope so. We've got Everton coming up as well.
So is the Bournemouth? Are they new to the Premier? I've never heard of that team. That's why I don't know what's going on.
They've gone up and down.
Okay.
They've been in the Prem a bit. So the current Newcastle manager used to manage Bournemouth.
Worcester.
Yeah.
Worcester. Yeah. See?
Worcester sauce.
For people who are in the UK looking at Massachusetts city names is perfectly fine. But most people say Worcester. Right? That's what they would say. It's Worcester.
Yeah, Worcester.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, so it's okay. So we'll see. So I mean, seems like you got you should all 3 matches, right? So hopefully you guys might be okay. You just gotta hope that. So if you win all 3, do you need? I mean, are you going to be? Is there seeds like one?
It's not in our hands now, because if we win all 3, Man City just need to win all their games, and they'll win the league.
But if you win all 3, and Man City only wins 2 of their 3, you're in a tie.
No, they've got 4 games. Oh. They've got 4 games, so we're at top of the league. How many?
But they have
4 points.
But they have a game in hand, correct?
They have a game in hand, so we're 1 point ahead of them. So they win that game in hand, they're 2 points ahead.
Okay.
But their fixture list is pretty tasty for them. I can't see them dropping any points.
Well, hey, you know what? I mean, I've seen
stranger things have happened.
Yeah, stranger things happen, and that's why you have to play the matches, right? Because you can't just say they'll automatically win because they can come out there and just basically shit the bed. And so it's cool. And Jerome used to live in Massachusetts. Yeah, Massachusetts, like Boston accents are pretty wild. They're very unique. You can pick them up no matter what. And I like people in Boston. So anyway, is that what I thought it was? I heard a noise. That's okay. Maybe
there's a noise, but I thought it was your end.
Static in the line. That's fine.
It's that router again.
It's a router. It's a router.
It's the
Anyway,
router.
so thanks for everybody who kind of went through my couple of minutes of like going through a little bit of a technical snafu. I appreciate you guys staying around for that. And then go Gunners.
Apologies, just left with me.
Right. And go Gunners, right? So go Gunners. And
Yes.
we'll see what happens. And again, thanks for everybody that showed up in the chat, everybody who tried to contribute. And I try to make sure I caught up with all of it, but it's hard to do this, right? Where you're trying to talk multiple topics and trying to keep up with everybody and trying to get back to the chat. So I really appreciate everybody engaging and making comments and asking questions. And if there's anything else you want, you can send us an email. I guess I could put our email address in there too, right? Would that be pretty cool? An email address, and then our MeWe, or just put us on Twix.
Yeah. And we'll do better to try and be engaging.
Yeah, we'll try to do better. We always try to do better. Like I said, if you have any other kind of feedback, things you want for the show, guest ideas, if you could line up a guest, hey, you know what? That's cool. If you know a guy or a gal, a human, whatever, and you know them, you can.
Or if any of you guys want to come on.
If anybody wants to show up, Brad or Jimmy, or I know we've had a DT on in the past, and he's always love a DT.
It's long overdue having Shark Fin back on, I think.
Absolutely, Shark. We need to get some more finance talk, because Shark is the guy. You talk about a guy who knows. I mean, I work where I work, but Shark knows a ton about that. He is extraordinarily knowledgeable about it. And Luis, he's another creator. We'd love to have him on at some point. So, if you got a few minutes, you want to waste an hour of your life, you're never going to get back, call us. We'll waste it with you. It's all good. So we're already here.
Yeah.
So go Gunners. Hoorah. And then for us, that's it. That's the end of the show. And thanks Mark is a great guest. Dude, yeah. We gotta get him on again. I gotta reach out to him as well. So again, for myself and for Joe, thanks for coming to the Nomad Tech Project today on the 20th of April. We'll be back next Sunday. We won't have a guest lined up. But it's changed. We might see if somebody can pop in. Again, contact us and let us know. Send us a Telegram or Instagram, a Twix, a MeWe, a pigeon, semaphore, road flares. I don't give a shit. Whatever works. I mean, we used to have Pony Express in the United States. They don't do that anymore. But yeah, send us an email. That's cool. And Luis said he's down. All right, cool. Well, shit, are you available next Sunday? Come on, you know the time. Anyway. So for myself and for Joe, thanks for coming to the Nomad Tech Project. Again, enjoy your tech. We love you guys. Take care of yourselves. Don't be a dick. And be a dick to each other. And we'll see you next Sunday at 3 p.m., 9 p.m. BST in the UK. And thanks, everyone, for coming on. And we love you guys. And we'll catch you next Sunday.
Much love to you guys. Much
Bye,
appreciated. Bye-bye.